Hi everyone, I'm Chris Van Dusen. I'm back with another drawing, another edition of Chris Van Doodles. Today we're going to draw the robot from Randy Riley's really big hit, a book that came out in 2012, published by Candlewick Press, that I wrote and illustrated. I think we're going to have fun with this one, and I think it will be fairly simple. So let's get right to it. All right, start with your piece of paper. I have my ebony pencil, and I'm going to start by doing two lines that sort of angle in, and that's going to be the robot's head. So start with a line that looks like this, and start with a line that looks like this. We're going to be looking up at the robot, so that's what we're going to start with. Now across the top, we're going to do a curved line that goes from this side, curves right around to the front, right around the front and to this side. So something like that, right? So that's going to be the top of the robot's head. Now we're going to start down a little bit, like down a point just about there, and we're going to do another curved line. I'm going to turn my page just a little bit so it's easier for me to draw. And I'm going to do a curved line that just follows that line all the way across the top. If you have to sketch it a little bit and draw lightly at first, that's fine. I usually draw lightly because sometimes I have to adjust things as we go. But that's going to be the top of the robot's head, okay? And then right about here, we're just going to do a little tiny little cap on top, and that's, again, a detail from the top of the robot's head. All right? Now, I can already see that I got to bring these down a little bit because I don't have this head quite right shape, so I'm going to put it down like that. All right? Now, let's do right along the bottom, we're going to do another curved line, kind of the same curve as this, and we're going to go like this, right across like that. All right? That's what we're going to do. And that's going to be the bottom of the robot's head. Along the side, we'll parallel these lines and bring a line up like this and a line up like this, because the robot has these panels on the side of the head that kind of are red and just indicate a little bit more detail. All right? Now come in a little bit from that line, right about there and right about there. Find a little point on that curve and bring a line that comes down about that far on that side and about that far on that side, still angled like the side of the robot's head. Okay? And then we're going to connect those two lines using this curve. So we're going to curve this across like this. Oops, we got a little bit too low there. That's all right. Something like that. All right? I don't quite have that straight, but that's all right. I'm going to actually add a little shadow because that's a little thickness. So we're going to do something like that. All right? Now we're going to draw an X. We're going to find the exact center of the robot's head, but we're going to come down to this line and we're going to put a little dot right there because that's going to be the very center of our X. So we're going to start up here. We're going to come down through that dot. We're going to come down a little bit lower on the bottom. What we're doing is we're drawing the robot's nose. And then we'll do the same thing over here. We'll come up through here to an X right there. Now, if you want to change things around, if you want to draw whatever you want, that's fine. I'm just drawing the robot from Randy Riley's really big hit, but if you want to change it around and add some different bolts or different details, go for it. I bet you'll come up with some fun stuff. All right, now we're going to just draw the bottom, which is a kind of a slightly curved line up like that, which indicates the bottom of the nose. And then we'll start in the corners and we'll do like an upside down V that indicates the underside of the nose, because again, we're looking up at the robot. So we're going to do something like that. Okay, and then we can put a little bit of shadow right there. All right. Now, right here where this comes to at a point, we're going to do a line that comes right up to that other point that we drew, and that indicates the angle of the nose, right? All right, now let's come down and do the mouth, and the mouth is going to be about halfway. So if we come down about halfway down, we're going to put a line about there, and down here we're going to put a line about there, all right? Something like that. And then using those curved lines again, we're going to curve it like this, right underneath the nose, and like this. Sort of following, did I get that straight? Oh, not bad. It's going to curve and sort of follow the curves of the head, the bottom of the head. Because again, we're looking up at a curved robot head. So we want that curve. All right? Now, where these lines came down, come back up, and that will be the point right about there, and a point right about there, and that will be the top of the circles that are going to be the eyes. The eyes are just simple circles, so let's just draw a circle over here, and a circle over here. Try to get them the same size. I sometimes have trouble drawing circles. I think they're kind of hard. I think I showed you guys, remember, that sometimes I use a circle template that helps me draw circles. But something like that, all right? Now, let's add a few details. Actually, let's add the ears. The ears are going to be kind of sticking out low, about like that, and just 2 lines that come out like that, 2 lines come out like that. And let's go back over here. We'll curve it like this because they're sort of curved ears, and then we'll do another little rim on the outside edge that looks like that. Same thing over here. Curve it up, and then another outside rim that looks like that. And don't worry about if they're not equal. You know, sometimes things don't quite line up, but that's fine. All right, now let's add a few more details. Let's add some bolts across the forehead or the brow here. And I had 6 bolts, so I had 3 on this side and 3 on this side. If you want to add more or less, it's totally up to you. And then we'll just add some little grooves here that indicate the mouth of the robot, and just space them out as they go across, right? That's basically the head. I mean, we've pretty much completed it. But now we're going to add a little detail to the body. So we're going to find where this point is down here and where this point is down here, and we're going to draw a line straight across that connects those 2 lines about there. Now that is going to be the top of the robot's body, okay? So bring it out a little bit because of those are the robot's shoulders. And then starting at this point, we're going to follow this line, and we're just going to bring it down like this, and we'll just have it fade out. We don't have to add too much detail. We'll just have mostly concentrate on the top part of the body. And same thing over here. Find the point where the shoulder is, and just follow this line to bring it down and just sort of fade it out. Something like that, right? Now let's add a little more detail to the front because it's kind of fun to draw those things. So let's bring it in a little bit about there and about there, and we're going to bring a line that comes down like this. Again, sort of angled, and a line that comes down like this. We got to keep all these perspectives the same, otherwise things will start looking kind of wonky. So we'll do something like that, and then we're going to do a curved line across the bottom because there's another sort of gauge on the top of, on the front of the robot, and it's going to look like this. It's going to curve around like that, right? Something like that. Now we're going to add some detail to this section. This is actually a glass sort of panel that shows some of the detail inside the robot. So we're going to line up here, a line up here, a line here, and a line here. If you don't get them spaced quite accurately, don't worry about it. But now we're going to add some bumps to the top of this. So we're going to put a bump here, a bump here, a bump here, a bump here, and a bump here. And you'll be able to see stuff in there, but we'll add those details later. Where this curve starts, where the end of this curve ends, we're going to bring this down, and we'll just kind of fade it off because this will be, we won't add too much more below that. We'll just sort of concentrate on the top of the body, all right? This is going to be a gauge, by the way. I think we mentioned that before. Now where the top of this curve goes, let's come right straight out, and we'll just add the shoulders of the robot. So we're going to another line that comes out like that, come right across here, and we're going to add another line that comes out like that. So those are going to be the top of the robot's shoulders. Let's work on this one first. We're going to start at the end. We're going to do a curved line that goes down like this. And then we're going to add another line that parallels this, comes up like this, overlaps, and then straight over. Shoulder, arm, and we'll just have it fade out like that, right? Same thing over here. Let's curve this line down, bring another line up like this. Well, I can bring this one down a little bit further, and straight over. So there are the robot's arms, or the shoulders of the robot's arms, all right? Now that's pretty much it. Let's add a little bit of detail to this gauge, and what we're going to do is we're going to add another line that sort of echoes this one and curves like this. This will be the chrome edge of that gauge. Bring this down, just sort of fade it off. Bring this down like this, fade it off like that. And then let's add another line that goes across like that that indicates where the gauge ends. And you can add a little arrow in here if you want, and maybe some little notches up here that indicate, I don't know, power level maybe, something like that. So it's just kind of fun. And like I said, you can add whatever you want. Maybe this is like low power, and then this is medium power, and then this is high power or something like that. Whatever you want. All right. Let's add some little things up here. I don't think these are in the book, but let's add some little vents up here. I like to add little things like that. That always makes it kind of look like a robot. All right. Now let's just shade it up a little bit and darken some of the lines, and it'll sort of come to life. We're going to have the light coming in from the right. So we're going to darken this side, and we're going to darken this whole thing just a little bit. And we'll darken this whole ear just a little bit. Underneath here, we'll darken some of this. It comes kind of across like that. Remember we smudged a little bit? This is a nice soft pencil, so this should smudge, and it just looks like that. The only problem is the smudges get everywhere. There's a smudge over here, but that's all right. Let's add a little shadow underneath the mouth, just a little bit thicker. Same thing underneath the eyebrow. Oh, we did that already, didn't we? Kind of did that, made a mistake. And let's add a little shadow underneath the nose, like that. You can darken underneath the nose, that little triangle too. And let's add a little bit over here on this side of the nose too, just a shade. So it looks like the light again is coming from this side. All right, let's go back to these panels. Let's do a little shadow on this side of these panels that comes up and kind of curves with the top. And this has all sorts of little machinery and stuff inside. So let's just add some really quick little geodes, or whatever they call them, little transformers, little springs. Let's maybe a line coming across here, and a wire coming up here, and maybe there's a spring coming down here, and oh, maybe there's a little light bulb over here, or whatever you want. You could just add some little things that indicate machines, only if you want to. You don't have to add these if you don't want. Don't worry about it if you don't want to do that. If you want to just keep this plain, that's fine too. Now let's add a little shadow in this shape that indicates the underside of the robot's head, something like that. And we'll darken up some of these lines now because these are in pretty good shape. Maybe we'll add a little shadow under this ear over here. Maybe a little shadow under the head, the rim of on the top of the head, just a little bit. And we can add a little shadow under this section, some little chrome indicators, which are just kind of like other lines put into the chrome. The way to draw chrome is basically you're drawing a mirror, so you're just drawing little reflections. So just add some little shadows here and there, and then we'll go back over here and we'll put this whole arm in shadow because, like I said, we're seeing the light coming from this side. I went over there, you can see, so I could just take my eraser and I could just do that. And let's make where the shoulder curves around, let's make that a little bit darker right along that section. That'll give it a little bit dimension. Same thing over here. This one's in light, so we'll just add a little slight shadow underneath the shoulder part where it curves around, something like that. And maybe just a little bit there. All right. And then you can just darken things up as you go. If you want to add some bolts in places or panels, sometimes I like to add like panels, like maybe I'll put a panel over here, you know, or a panel over here. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the book. Maybe they're bolted on, these little bolts, stuff like that. You can add all these little details that make it look kind of like a machine that was put together. But that's basically the robot from Randy Riley's Really Big Hit. I'm going to erase some of these smudges. I hope you guys had fun with that one. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Just a bunch of shapes. Until next time, keep drawing, stay well, and we'll see you soon. Bye.